Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Happiness Journey with Dr. Dan podcast, where every journey is worth living. My name is Dr. Dan, and I'm your host for today's episode. I'm a bilingual neurolinguistic programming and cognitive behavior psychotherapist specializing in anger management issues, both court-appointed and private, marriage counseling using the EFT method, dissociative disorders, narcissistic personality disorders, depression, anxiety, dream analysis, and also provide life, business, and retirement coaching support. I provide individual one-on-one session in both French or English, and also do group settings. If you need any assistance, reach out to DMV Therapy and Coaching Services at 301-325-1550, and our website can be found at lifecoachdanamzalek.com. Today, I'm very excited to have for our 8th episode of season 14, a very special guest and weight loss coach, Tina McDermott. And just like every of my past episode, I will leave it up to the guests to properly introduce themselves, as no one can do a better job. Tina, the floor is yours.
Hello, good morning, Dr. Dan. Hello, everyone. My name is Tina McDermott. I'm the Lazy Inspirational Chef, and I'm a weight loss coach. I've been doing this for 22 plus years, and I can tell you everything that I do in the wellness world is my love, my joy, my passion. And Dr. Dan, there's no place I'd rather be than right here, right now with you and all of your guests to teach you how you can find joy in the kitchen. You can find joy in your life, even if you don't know how to cook or like to cook or know how to lose weight or want to lose weight, so that you can live healthy, vibrant, and free.
Beautiful. You know, it is a pleasure of mine to have you on the podcast because I myself, Tina, I suffered from obesity when I was young. Okay. And I went through a lot of yo-yo dieting, like the majority of people. I would not say morbidly overweight, like just the show TLC, My 600-Pound Life, but just enough for me to be able to be very afraid about the future if I didn't make the changes that I needed today. Now, I know that with the obesity rate in this country, is it what, at 60% or so now? Close to that.
A little higher.
A little bit higher, yes. I can see that a lot of people now are using any magic pills or like gastric bypass surgery to be able to get back into health. But unfortunately, it takes a lot of effort, mindset, and really start to understand your relationship with food. So how do you now, in your practice with weight loss coach, do you gear or do you help your patients or your clients to be able to start having a much more ideal relationship with food?
I love that question, Dr. Dan. And I just want to say that my journey started the exact opposite of yours. You were obese as a young person. I was anorexic as a young child. And that changed at the age of 12 years old. And many things happened. We're not going to go into that, but one of the number one things that I can tell you that I help my weight loss clients with is shifting the mindset. I call it mastering the mindset. Because look, we've done all of the capital D, capital I, capital E with the small t's that are out there. I can't say the word. I can, but I don't like to say that word. We've done them all. So we know how to eat, or we think we know how to lose weight, but it doesn't stay off because the mindset, the emotions that drive us to eat have not been worked on, talked about, challenged, allowed to come out and be surrendered to. And that, I can tell you, is what sets me apart from everyone else in the world, is that the number one thing that I work on with my clients is mastering that mindset and healing, literally healing those emotions that are driving you to eat, healing those emotions that are heightening your stress in your life and helping you make the wrong choices. So I'm going to help you clear up that mindset so you naturally will gravitate towards the natural foods that Mother Nature have provided for us. And you'll live, like I say, healthy, vibrant, and free from those capital D, capital I, capital E, small t's.
Now, I've dealt a lot in my practice with people who are dealing with eating disorders, either bulimia, anorexia, binging, and all. And in a way, it's probably sometimes some sort of fear that they've developed, because if someone is dealing with anorexia or bulimia, whatever it is, they're so focused into how they see their weight on the scale. And now, of course, as you know, you could have a bodybuilder okay, who, because now, I went from obesity to professional bodybuilding. And when you look at this and their BMI for a bodybuilder, they're like over 40. And when you look at that for a doctor's perspective, this is morbidly obesity. So again, muscle way more than fat. So we cannot go with the weight. We have to go with how we feel and what fits. So again, people were so obsessed with the weight scale, put the weight scale in the closet, let it accumulate dust, don't even revisit anymore. But now we see more and more people just being so obsessed, and they deprive themselves from enough nutrition to be able to survive, to live a healthier life. And now, again, it's not a thin life, it's a healthy life. So
Yeah.
this relationship that they have with the weight scale, how do you let them, or how do you help them distance themselves from it?
Well, a few things. Education, right? And the number one thing I say to my clients is if you are married to the scale, it's time to get a divorce. Use that. I love that. It's time to get a divorce, because it's not about the number on the scale. I was a bodybuilder as well, and I'm an athlete, so my BMI has always been off the charts. Like, so it's a measuring tool, BMI, but it's not the be all end all, right? And so I don't go by the BMI. I go by how you feel, how your clothes fit. Body fat is a good thing to look at, but not to obsess about it. I used to obsess about it because I was a bodybuilder, and the obsession that we've gone through. I've gone through. You might know it. I hope you might. But yeah, you get a divorce from the scale. And here's the thing: a lot of those programs out there that are about losing weight, they don't care if you lose muscle mass. They don't care. And as a matter of fact, when you go on those capital D, capital I, capital E, small t's, and when you do those programs, it most of the time it's lacking in the actual nutrition, because it's fake food. So your body starves, and you end up losing muscle versus fat. And muscle dictates your metabolism. So you'll lose the weight on those programs, but you'll gain it back along with some friends that you don't want. Okay. Some friends that you just don't like or want, they come back because you'll gain all the weight back. Your metabolism is slower. So ideally, we divorce the scale, and we take a look at a tape measure. I love the tape measure. The tape measure never lies. The scale lies, especially if you're a woman. Women tend to hold on to more water weight than guys do. It just is what it is, okay? We have more fat cells because we're women, we bear children, and we tend to hold on to more water weight. So the scale can lie to us on a daily basis. The tape measure doesn't lie. So that's the education. I want to educate people that if you're married, get a divorce to that scale, marry a tape measure, and add resistance training into your life. And it doesn't have to be, let's go be a bodybuilder, right, Dan? I mean, we love that, but it doesn't mean everybody else has to love that. Your body loves resistance, and resistance is when the muscles break down and then regrow stronger and heighten your metabolism. Not only that, we also need to be feeding our bodies food that comes from Mother Nature. I always say eat foods that walk, fly, swim, and grow, with an emphasis on the grow.
Yes.
Green leafy vegetables being number one, right? And eat the rainbow, all colors of the rainbow, and eat 10 to 12 cups of vegetables a day. Have everything else that you want, but make sure you get those vegetables. And I guarantee you, Dan, you know this, when you eat your vegetables, you're not going to have room for the processed foods.
That's correct. Exactly. But now when you look at all those, those who are doing those different kind of program, including now this becoming more and more popular with intermittent fasting, etc. The intermittent fasting has a lot of benefits. I've read about it. I've been doing it as well for many, many years. But at the same time, you slow down your metabolism because there's no more digesting happening. But at the same time, you are also not allowing the pancreas to secrete the insulin, because every time that you eat, the pancreas has to secrete the insulin so it could level the blood sugar in your body. And that in itself is where people start storing fat. So it's kind of very contradictory information when we read about the benefit. Also, beside not secreting enough insulin or eating once a day instead of eating 6, 7 times as they used to always encourage, do smaller meals, but more frequently, that will accelerate your metabolism. But that also will let the pancreas to secrete more insulin every time that you eat. So what's your stake on both theories?
All right. I'm all about the balance. I'm all about the balance. Again, being in the health industry, I was a personal trainer for many years, bodybuilder. It was okay, eat six meals, small meals a day. And now it's the intermittent fasting. I'm hearing just eat one meal a day. And I go, oh my gosh, no. One way or the other, anything that is extreme on one end or the other, take a hard look at it and talk to a professional about it. Here's what I think is what works for your body, what works for you. And everybody is different. Personally, if you want my personal recommendation, eat 3 meals a day. And if you just want to eat 2 meals a day, whole beans, eat 2 meals a day. When you go to the 1 meal a day, it definitely slows down your metabolism. Your body thinks it's starving. When you eat too much, you're excreting too many hormones and too much is going on. Your body never has a chance to alkalinize. Never go to one extreme or the other. Same thing with one program here that says to eat only fat. This other program says to eat only carbohydrates. Erase them all from your memory, okay? Think. Eat foods that walk, fly, swim, and grow. 10 to 12 cups of vegetables a day. Stay there. Mm-hmm. And if it's outside of that, I mean, yeah, and again, you might say, well, Tina, you're extreme on the vegetables. Well, I like my meat. I like my fats. I like them all in moderation. Mm-hmm. I don't like the junk food part because that is really, it causes dis-ease in your body, as well as these extreme programs. Now let's talk about the insulin excretion. You don't want your pancreas to excrete insulin. You just don't. And it does to protect you. It's there to protect your brain from the sugar, the glucose in your body, in your bloodstream. So the pancreas excretes the insulin. I call insulin an insult to your body. That's what I call it. So it grabs a hold of the glucose. It's a good thing. And it takes it on a date. And it goes to the muscle and it knocks on the muscle door and says, hey, let me in. I want to feed you. But the muscle says, you've been knocking on my door for how many days, how many years? I'm tired. I'm done. Insulin resistance, and then turns into diabetes. So that the insulin has to take the glucose on a date into your fat cells. Okay.
Yes.
And that's what happens. Now, what I advise my clients to do is balance each and every meal so that your body doesn't have to excrete the insulin. Mm-hmm. Balance the meal. Have, of course, your non-starchy vegetables, because the starch equals glucose, okay? And a good lean protein and a little bit of fat. The 3 of those combined blunts the rise in blood sugar, so your pancreas doesn't have to excrete the insulin. So have a huge salad with dark leafy greens at lunch with some good protein and I love olive oil, I'm Italian, or some avocado. And then for dinner, have some nice roasted or steamed vegetables with nice, beautiful pieces of salmon. The salmon is full of good omega-3 fatty acids. Snacks, have a little bit of fruit, have a little bit of vegetables, nuts. We're done. Oh my gosh, you have an incredible day's worth of food. And these days we tend to think, I'm going into another tangent here, Dan, is that we think that food comes from a drive-through. And it doesn't. Food comes from a farm. Food comes from, you cultivate the food. You don't have to go to the farm, okay? You can get it from the farmer's market. You can get it from the grocery store. Bring it back home. Prepare it together with your family. Bonding time. And eat together with them, because that is where food comes from. And again, foods that walk, fly, swim, and grow.
Now, if you could give some example to our listeners, which major type of food have very low glycemic index, so the pancreas does not secrete that insulin, but yet they can still eat? Because the sample that you gave about the leafy vegetables, okay, but can they do that every single day? It's going to get very boring for their taste bud. So what else would you say are less conducive for the pancreas to secrete the insulin? Now, I know that less than 65 the pancreas will not secrete. Anything above that, it will secrete some insulin, but not enough to be able to have enough stored as fat in the body. So is there
Right.
something else that you would recommend that has, beside mushroom or broccoli, asparagus? I mean, what other vegetables would they go into that category where the pancreas is not going to be bothered?
Non-starchy vegetables. So let's talk about what are the starchy vegetables. You've got your potatoes.
Yes.
Beets are high in sugar. Oh my gosh, I love beets. Have a little bit of beets, but don't go too overboard.
Carrots as well, very high in sugar.
And carrots are very high in sugar, especially if you cook them. And so, but do them very little and throw them into your salad. I'm a huge salad fan. I'm a very big salad fan. But you can do Brussels sprouts, you can do cabbage, stir-fry cabbage is wonderful. Onions, asparagus. You said asparagus. What about all your green leafy vegetables? Your spinach, your
Yes.
kale. Try the baby kale. If you don't like kale, try all the baby greens. The baby leaf has all the nutrition that the adult leaf has in it. So you're getting macronutrition from a micro thing, a little leaf. Your mustard greens, your collard greens, if you want to cook those, you have to cook the collards. Of course, your broccoli, your cauliflower, and what else? Try to help me out. Tomatoes have a little sugar in them, and they are
What
considered
is
a
it? Either
fruit.
tomatoes a fruit or a vegetable. So that's
It's a fruit. It's a
very,
fruit.
very big
It's a
debate
fruit.
at this point.
Yeah. Then
Um,
we're going to get into the whole nightshade discussion, and I don't want to get into that because I have a problem with that. But eggplant, your peppers, string beans, love them. Cucumbers, celery, love them. I
the
even
best
make,
snack is edamame. That's
what
my
was that?
edamame is my best snack.
Oh, you like that edamame, and we call it edamame. Yeah, edamame is as long as it's organic, go organic. Yeah, you don't
Definitely.
want too much estrogen. Okay.
No, no. Yeah, and talking about soy, because now that has also become a big issue with it's the term gynecomastia, where men will start gaining like breast tissue on their body. So again, what's your say for soy or too much of it? Again, everything is moderation, but people want to replace red meat because of all the cholesterol to be able to replace it with an alternative. But tofu will have some or soy food or soy milk. What's your say in that?
Oh my gosh, I can talk for another 20 hours here, but I'm going to try to keep it brief. If you're going to eat soy products, eat them fermented and organic only. Think fermented and organic only. Because 90 some percent of the crops of soy are genetically modified and they're full of pesticides that transmit to your gut flora. My sister passed away from breast cancer, and she was told many years ago she had breast cancer for 24 years. She
Oh,
was diagnosed at 23, passed away at 48. No soy. They said do not touch soy.
okay.
And as a matter of fact, anytime I did touch soy, I can't tolerate soy personally. It's just, you go by your individual body. But soy has estrogen, or it increases your estrogen levels. And if you are going through menopause, or if you are concerned, if you have any kind of dis-ease, I would go very easy on any kind of soy products. And if you do eat the soy products, fermented and organic only. Now, in the gym, we would call, when men grow breasts, we would call them something with I can't say the word. Okay, I don't want to say it on air.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and it's
I know what you're
because,
talking about.
yeah, it's when men grow breasts, it's because they're when they have a lot of fat. I want you to remember, fat cells produce estrogen as well. Then that's when that happens. You've got too much fat on you as a male, and then the male is going to start producing breasts or growing breasts because it's too much estrogen in your body.
But
So
bodybuilders have very little amount of fat. I mean, their body fat level is like 6 to 8% in during the peak season. So it's not fat related at this point. It's because maybe it's steroid related as well. They use anabolic. It is also,
that's probably why.
yeah, it's possible that also in the certain testosterone ingredient, it does add also estrogen, and this is why they have the B. Well, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And that in itself creates some kind of like bubble around their nipple, which makes look like they have a breast.
It's estrogen. There's too much estrogen going in their body, whether they're ingesting it, whether it's coming from their fat, or whether it's coming from the steroids that they're taking. So there's your answer: is estrogen that's producing the
But then the
breasts.
reverse goes for the women who use anabolic steroids, and then they start to have male attribute with the
Yep.
voice of the hair and exactly growing hair, and of course the muscles increases. But then again, this is not sustainable long time. You see how many bodybuilders are dying at the competition, or that is because, of course, they do not have enough water in their body prior to the competition. But then again, it's all the liver issue liver failure that they get. It's so much more impact that they bring into their body for no apparent reason. Well, beside, of course, showing up on stage and narcissism, but then itself, it's just like nothing. I mean, even those diets you're talking about, Tina, nothing is sustainable. Atkins, he passed away at 54 from his from his own heart, like heart disease. So that was because it was atherosclerosis or something, too
Yeah.
much fat,
Hardening of the arteries. He ate too much fat.
too much
Not
fat.
enough balance.
Not enough balance, exactly. So that brings to your point that everything has to have some balance, and hopefully people will come to realization that there's no magic pill. And now, did you hear about what Elon Musk just said recently about losing 30 pounds with Ozempic, which is now a diabetic medication that is used for weight loss? And Ozempic is now creating the it changes the chemistry in the brain, that when you look at food,